Do you wish your lore to be truly acknowledged? It is sometimes for us dungeon masters, or even creators of games and art, it is a question whether our lore will get listened to as a piece of background information that frequently is of no relevance or interest to the player. They could be so kind as to give us an ear for a moment or two, or even more, but at what point does that stop? And how can we exchange our lore for some greater and more obvious value so that the players can catch up to it constantly and then receive the main reward of a story well told through the lore of the background? How do we get to do that? How do we get our lore truly acknowledged, truly listened to? It is somewhat a simple trick to integrate it into the game. What we want to transform is the situation where more of a novice DM or creator considers lore separately and sees it in the background, but it sort of stands across the room from the game, so to speak. So what we want to transform it into is like a choose your own adventure book in a way, just even more, better, grander. What these frequently do is they almost secretly sneak in a tutorial at the beginning where they check whether you as the player have been paying at least some attention. It should be easy at the beginning, but it brings at the start somewhat of a great reward, a big lever to step into the spotlight as a player, to do something interesting, something important, to resolve an encounter by remembering something from the backstory that you can now use. And that's why I say they sneak in the tutorial, because it's not like they tell you that this is a tutorial. It's not like this is some sort of hard-won reward that needs work and boss fight and whatnot. No, this is simply a very unlabeled tutorial that is well done to polish, and it shows off this mechanic. And we start, as I said, simple. For example, the party is fighting an organization that needs to pay more attention to, say, a resource that's down in the cellar, in the barrels. And they would have to, if told that this is there, they would have to stop fighting the players and go down there to pick that up and run away with it before any other competing faction does the same. The background somehow conveys this before any of this happens, and not as the only thing that was said. As such, it sort of stands out as an interesting and fun tidbit to players that they feel like they could use. It could be even a better example where, say, a faction backing one of the players from their backstory, or all of them even, potentially, is very involved at the higher level behind the faction that is attacking the place where the players have happened to be, so attacking them. As soon as the player decides to act on this and pull out their badge or what have you, and sort of name drop and pull rank and whatnot, this will be paid off very well. Now, of course, you'd want to avoid having conflicting interests in the players where they would lose out on the experience and the loot and so on. Therefore, you should make it prominent that they would gain more. Even better, that they would gain where otherwise they wouldn't have gained anything. And that it's a somewhat starkly obvious thing, yet elegant, in the beginning. And this hidden tutorial starts as the first step. Then you make another that's a bit more versatile, maybe multiple choice, maybe more subtle, but still pretty obvious and handleable by the players, even as beginners as they are. Because don't forget, no matter what, new players to a new game that you make or a new campaign that you make, they're first visitors there. They haven't spent weeks and months developing the world like you did, they feel completely lost and blind until several sessions in, where it all sort of falls into place more for them, and they start feeling more at home, like they're in their own country, but that takes some skill. So you want to build their visuals of the world, their ability to comprehend where they are and what they're doing, bit by bit, with some helping hand along the way here and there. That's not too obvious. That's not something that they'll figure out that is helping them, especially past the first time. The first time they might even be in the position to see that this is kind of a help from the DM to set them up in a favorable position to start off with, to sort of interact with the world. But it should be emphasized that it feels like you set them up to interact more with the world, not that you expect them to be stupid and just set them up to have a tutorial. Make it feel respectful to players' abilities, time, and interests. And there we have how to connect it more subtly and better with player interests, taking into consideration their backstories, their classes, their presence on the quest. If you're making a video game, then this is what kind of player role are we having for the protagonists here now? Why are they there? What are they doing? Who they are? And why would they be doing this? And what makes it fun? What makes it cool? What makes it awesome? What makes it interesting to pursue this line of story? Because I frequently see people play out some kind of story that's concerned with some third-party characters, some random people, random detectives, random... why would we care this early on? You need to present something that's either fun and cool to do for the player, or present fun and cool characters that players like. And best is to have both, and even some interesting, maybe scary, maybe imposing, maybe cool, maybe elite opposition. And more, like an interesting world, engaging world, fun items, fun perspectives of activities, all that stuff that I've been talking about for years now. But you use mechanics of this to get the players to care, and then you make a tutorial out of it where the players can gain, where they can profit, where they can win by knowledge. And then you deliver knowledge, and you keep the loop repeating. It's something that can be quite easy lots of the times, but you will have multiple layers of this, where players will often have what easy thing to remember that they can use for a small but good, great reward. But then a bigger thing that they can remember to more complexly use, even plot about, and get imaginably grand reward for them that would make them salivate, that would progress their goals, that would give them stuff, that would give them loot, that would give them best things that they wish for in their campaign, in their mind for their character. And then even deeper lore that they can speculate about for months, for years, that even if they complete even quarter of it, they can do some interesting things in the world with. Go to interesting places, speak to interesting people, and achieve even bigger things that they didn't think were possible. And if one day they complete some super grand, elaborate arc of understanding your lore, then you can give them even bigger revelations and rewards, thus making the campaign always escalate, slowly but surely, by lore. So now we have lore well integrated as a mechanic into your campaign, where the players recognize due to continuous exercise, almost Pavlovian exercise, of using and even abusing the lore to best suit their interests, which essentially almost never fails as long as they pay attention. Therefore, they have that feedback loop that this is an activity, a gameplay activity, like a minigame, except better than a minigame, where it's a major mechanic. They obtain the lore, they remember the lore, they combine the lore, they use the lore, they win. Very good. And this is how we dungeon masters can get our lore acknowledged, listened to, make room for it so that it can grow long and prosper across the whole campaign and be actually utilized and not just be our wistful dreaming of what could have been. So, DM, adventurer, game designer, please join me again and I'll tell you more, because every week, well, every other week or so, I make more such things just for you. I'm M, and welcome to dMTable. See you next time. Bye.